Good morning, everybody. The subject of my lecture today will be the role of the natural extracts in skin care. Plants are used in cosmetics, but also in food for many, many years. When we look at the Egyptian culture, they were using plants for healing purposes, but also in cosmetics. 5,000 years ago, the Sumerians knew the valuable properties of garlic, of mint, of chamomile, and also of aloe vera. I will be talking about the aloe vera also today. Also plants like cumin, the pepper, the cardamom, they are widely known spices. When we look at Chinese people, they believe that we can find a solution in the nature for everything, that we can heal every disease with the nature. Looking at the last century, I would like to pay your attention on the synthesis of sulfonamides, because in this moment the people went a bit into the artificial compounds, into the antibiotics. But right now we can observe the very, very strong return to natural compounds, return to nature, return to natural mixtures. When we look at plants from the chemical point of view, they are containing huge amount of chemicals like alkaloids, like flavonoids, like phenols, polyphenols. These are all chemicals that are in plants and that are very, very beneficial for our body, but also for our skin. I would like also to pay your attention that each part of the plant can be used as the source of biologically active substances. So each part of the plant can be used in cosmetics. And also the content of the plant can be different, and it depends on the climate, it depends on the harvest, on the season, on the soil conditions, how much sun it got. So it depends on many, many factors. Looking at this diagram, you see how many groups of compounds we can find in plants, how many groups of chemicals. I divided this presentation into three parts. The first part regards the moisturization, which is very important in the skin conditions. The second part is anti-aging, also crucial. We know how this is crucial now for the human beings to be long, young. And the third one, also important, it's cuperose skin. Coming back to the moisturization, algae. Algae, these are plants that have very significant moisturizing effect. And right now we can find in many, many products algae. I would like also to pay your attention on algite. Algite, that's the substance that stimulates the metabolism of fats and they break down. That's why it's so commonly used in so-called anti-cellulite products. It's used also in anti-aging products. And we use also not just only extract, but also silt, because silt contains magnesium, contains calcium, sodium, potassium, iron. So many, many elements which are priceless for our skin. Looking at the composition, we have lipids, we have proteins, flavonoids, polysaccharides, microelements, and a lot of vitamins. So algae are really priceless from the cosmetological point of view. The other plant extract, which was used for a long time by humans, is aloe vera. Aloe vera which was used already by ancient Greeks, and it was recommended for burns, for headaches, for skin problems, for oral diseases. But we have to know that there are two substances which are very important here. So aloin and amodin, and both of them are in the peel of the aloe leaf. When we buy the extract, the aloe vera, we have to know that this is the mixture of the three aloes that I have mentioned here on the slide. Inside we can find vitamins, we can find mineral salts, a lot of amino acids, but also enzymes, sugars that are acting in the hydrating way. So they are ensuring moisturization to the skin. The important group also saponins and anthraquinone derivatives, as I told before, the aloin and amodin. And looking at the activity, we have anti-inflammatory and antibacterial properties of aloe. But we also know, and now there is a huge literature on it, that it stimulates cell division, that it also affects the activity of fibroblasts. Yes, fibroblasts are very important for the skin condition. It improves skin elasticity, but it has also sun protection property. So it's a natural UVA and UVB filter. Finally, the aloe stimulates skin microcirculation. Let's look how diverse these properties are. Where we can use it: skincare products, cream, lotion, products with sun protection properties, but also cosmetics that are intended after sunbathing, because it's inflammatory, anti-inflammatory activity. In shampoos, in conditioners for greasy skin. So we can use aloe, and it is used in many, many cosmetics. Going to the anti-aging part of this presentation. Let's start from the tea, from the black tea and from the green tea and its cosmetic activity. When we look on the market, when we are looking for tea, we can buy the white tea, which is manufactured from buds, but we can also find the green tea, that's about 20% of the world production, oolong tea, about 2% of the world production, and black tea, the biggest, the highest world production. And also other so-called teas like mate, rubus, and other teas. What's the most important in the tea? That's the process of fermentation. When we look at the tea, and if it's black, so we have black tea, we can be sure that this is the fully fermented tea. So that's the tea when the process of fermentation went to the end. When we look at the oolong for the red tea, it's so-called semi-fermented, so we stop the process of fermentation on some stage. And totally unfermented, the green tea and the white tea. And all of these teas differ very much in composition, totally different for the skin. Their activity is different. About the fermentation, it doesn't require the microbiological activities. And the induction of the process is the mechanical maceration of leaves. So when we macerate the leaves, the enzyme, which is polyphenol oxidase, it's released, and then the fermentation starts. We can stop it when we want. And in this moment, we can, so in some way, moderate which kind of tea, which kind of leaves we are going finally to obtain. The chemical composition of the tea varies with the age of leaves, with the season, of course, with climate. So the important thing is where these leaves are growing. And of course, as I mentioned before, it depends on the fermentation degree and the variety of the tea shrub. These are just main groups of chemical substances which are priceless for the skin, and we can find them in the tea. So they can be polyphenols, like for example catechins which are perfect antioxidant. We are looking for substances in cosmetics like this, like catechins, but also theaflavins and thearubigins. These last two are mainly, or even I can say only, in the black tea. So because they are created during the process of the fermentation. We can find also amino acids, purine alkaloids, and a lot of vitamins and minerals. And this is just the simple tea, the tea that we are drinking every day, but also the tea that we can incorporate to our cosmetics. It's just nice to know that the green tea contains more chlorophyll, vitamin C, and organic acids, and the theaflavins and thearubigins are very characteristic for the black tea. Yeah, they are giving the black color to this tea. Looking at the cosmetic activity of the tea, the first and the most important one, it's anti-aging effects, so the anti-radical effects. We know, and there is a lot of data on it, that it causes the decrease of the irritation possibility. And it also protects our blood vessels. That's why it's so widely used by Polish producers, because it's very, very good component for the skin. To summarize, the green tea has the very various and beneficial influence on human body, and it's the richest kind of the tea in catechins. So it possesses very strong anti-radical activity and protects our skin from free radicals. And this is important. And that's why it has very wide application as the raw material in Polish cosmetics. Going to the grapes, to the wine, yeah, that's the other extract which is important. It's Asian origin, and now of course it's grown in many, many places, not just only in Asia. It contains anthocyanins like peonidin, cyanin, the substances that are also very good free radical scavengers and that are acting as antioxidizing agents. And it contains a lot of flavonoids like camphorol, like rutin. Looking to the grape seed extracts, it has been also proven that it contributes to the reduction of the platelet aggregation, and also we know right now that it protects the circulatory system against many, many diseases. That's the extract with the very strong antioxidant properties, and we know that it can act also as UV filter. The last extract that I would like to show you in this part of anti-aging substances, it's mulberry. But the last that I would like to show, but of course not the last one, because we have thousands of natural mixtures which are playing the antioxidant role in the cosmetic. So mulberry and its whitening effect. These extracts is also widely used in cosmetics produced by Polish producers, having in view its very good whitening effects. And except for whitening effects, it also possesses antioxidizing properties. But we have to know that the main substance which is acting as whitening substance, it's arbutin. So the arbutin, the compound lightening the skin, which is very often required or looked for by Asian people. And the last part of this lecture touches to the capillary skin. Capillary skin, which is very difficult very often for proper treatment. From one hand, it should be under the dermatological control, so it should be controlled by the dermatologists. But the dermatological cure and control, it's the one thing. But from the other hand, we must use proper cosmetics for such a skin. We must care in a very special way for such a skin. And here I have two highlights. The first one is Arnica montana. Arnica, that's the plant that has long been used in a folk medicine in Poland, but I think that just not only in Poland. And we were using this for treating bruises, for the muscle pains, but also for rheumatism. We know, because there is a science behind, and there are also publications, scientific publications, that this plant extract strengthens and shrinks blood vessels, which is very important, and it reduces the edema. So that's why we can use it in the cosmetics for the capillary skin. It supports the blood circulation also, because when we have capillary skin, we have a problem with veins, and very often we have a problem with the blood circulation. This extract supports this. It also soothes skin inflammation and generally regenerates the skin. And what is also important, that this extract is the natural sun filter. Sun filter, which is important for every cosmetics, because we know how many harm can do the sun for our skin. So UVA and UVB, they are approaching different levels of the skin, and they can really destroy our lipids, our proteins. That's why all the extracts that can prevent us from the UV radiation activity are very good in cosmetics. And the horse chestnut. The horse chestnut, which is also used in Polish folk medicine for many years and possesses anti-inflammatory activity, also strengthening the effects on the circulatory system. Raw materials are chestnuts, but also flowers, and there are two important compounds that are inside, like esculin and acin. And thanks to this compound, we can prevent the walls of our blood vessels. I would like also to highlight that the horse chestnut in the cosmetic applications mainly reduces edema. Edema, which is very visible sometimes, we are trying to that's why we are trying to incorporate the horse chestnut into the cosmetics. But it also accelerates the healing processes and inhibits the action of hyaluronidase. And the hyaluronidase, that's the enzyme that breaks down the hyaluronic acid, which is very important for our skin, for the skin condition, for the moisturization of the skin. We want to protect this acid. Looking at substances that are inside the horse chestnut, there are flavonoids, a lot of flavonoids. Right now, the science knows more than 5,000 of these compounds. So that's the huge group, very diverse group, very interesting group, and the group that gives us at first antioxidant activity, but also anti-inflammatory activity, and the group which is influencing the microcirculation. So a lot of flavonoids inside, the tannins. Tannins with its astringent activity, also saponins and coumarins, but we can meet also carotenoids. Carotenoids which are very important for the skin functioning. The group of carbohydrates gives us moisturization, because usually carbohydrates are at first too big to be incorporated into the skin. These are just big molecules, so they stay on the surface of the skin. But at the same time, they are acting as good moisturizers. And many, many other substances. To sum up this presentation, I would like just to say that Polish cosmetic contains wide spectrum of plant extract. I just have mentioned a few of them, and there are many, many others. Some of them are growing especially in Poland, some of them are growing in other places, but we use them in cosmetics and we know how beneficial they are. We can just say that these products are based on the science latest achievements, which is very, very important. So that's the science and strong R&D behind. And the plants finally are priceless for the skincare, because they can act as very good moisturizers, they can act as anti-aging agents, they can also ensure the UV protection, and they can play the whitening role. Thank you very much for your attention.